Hi there, and now welcome to another Jackie Chan film. This is the one where I would say it's a good one. It's not like a James Bond, it's not like an Indiana Jones. Armour of God. That's right, Armour of God. Damn good film. And let's not forget the iconic opening where Jackie Chan is undercover and he's got to set this magical sword. This was the one, for people who may not know, when people said was Jackie Chan almost a bit like Bruce Lee in the fact that he almost got killed. And this is the one where people said, was this the film where Jackie Chan almost got killed doing his own stunt? Yep, this is the film. This is the film. Armour of God. I'll tell you into that story in a bit. But Armour of God, he did his own stunt and it accidentally went wrong. But I'll tell you that in a bit. Good film though. It's to do with a magical sword, has magical powers. You've got evil monks who want to use it, obviously for evil. Again, like most of Jackie Chan's films, you do get real action scenes and outtakes. And again, he does his own stunts, like I just said. He meets up this beautiful dude, dark hair, knows how to use a bow arrow, basically can kick ass. And he meets up with some of his friends. It's quite funny actually, because when you think about it, Jackie in this does a lot. He's a singer, or used to be a singer. He's an art dealer, and he's an architect, and he has dad sits. I fucking love the motorbike dad sit, where it's like a car, and it gets him out of a shitty situation, and it flies out the other end. It is fucking awesome. It is proper kick-ass little dad sit, and it gets him out of that situation. Yeah, I'll tell you the story, why not? Because you're probably wondering in the film, when it first starts, he's got short hair. Jackie Chan had short hair. And then you're probably thinking there's a scene where they're actually in this magical sword, right? And suddenly he's got long, dark, jet black hair, like he did when he was in his heyday. The reason for that was the fact that he wore a wig. So people thought, was he wearing a wig? Yeah, he was wearing a wig because he had schisis at the back of his head. What it was, he had to do this amazing stunt in the opening when he had to jump on wall to wall, rock to rock, obviously to get to the other side. So he was on one rock, jumped to get to the other side, then he jumped to get onto that side. Obviously he got the stunt wrong. He got it wrong. Because he got it wrong, he accidentally fell, timing, and he spit all of his head open at the back. Lucky enough, obstacle and ambulance service and all that were there just in the nick of time, stitched him up and managed to save his life. And if it wouldn't have been because of them, Jackie Chan wouldn't be here now. He'd be dead. Yeah, he'd be dead. So, if anything, I owe it up to the hospital service for saving Jackie Chan's life. Yeah, I owe it to them. But the film, like I say, is good action film. Again, it has your typical humour in it. He meets him die on the way. I do love to see where the old margarine, Chinese margarine and butter both have a different taste. And when it goes off, it just tastes off. And he gives it to the dirty, basically it's just pissing him off. I like that. I just think it's pretty interesting. You got an evil monk in it, and you see where the dirty is lead with Jackie Chan pretends to be a call girl. He starts to pretend to be a call girl to find out the magical sword. Now I remember watching Armour of God, and what can I say? I like it because it's old school. It's a film I miss. It has that old school action, has a typical adventure feel to it, and it has an adventure story to it. And yet they did make a sequel back in, let me think. I think they're in the early 90s. They did make a sequel called Armour of God 2: The Gauntlet. But I always thought this was a better film, better pace, better everything. He did direct some women. Again, they do a date fight scene. Similar to Pre-Story 2, you had women kicking ass and kicking butt, the lot. And I love it. Yeah, I love Armour of God. Good film, back in 1986. It is a kick-ass film. Say it again, kick-ass film. Like I say, to get these pieces of the sword, and he meets a guy on the way who basically is down and knit the armour, and he has these dogs like Dobermans, and you can't tempt them with food because they've been trained to be no food. Don't work. I like that touch on it. It made it like different than what you normally see in films where you give dogs steak, they eat a piece of steak, they become fucking useless. So I like Armour of God. No, I like Jackie Chan in it. He's brilliant. Okay, you got a lot of date fight scenes, and I love the women in it. There's a bit of me that always wonders when you got the women, right, and they're trying to kick Jackie Chan's ass, whether they're trying to copy that from, let me think, Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China, whether they copied that, because there's a similar scene in that where you've got women fighters trying to get into a fight, and Turk Russell gets the better and he smacks one. I thought it was very similar. It must have both come out the same day. You know, being built, they'll look like fucking men with biceps and everything, and they're trying to kick the shit out of Chaka. But Chaka manages to out fucking beat him. He manages to blow up the building, which is like a big tube made up like a moncula. And he runs, and let's not forget the fucking iconic scene where he jumps, lands on a fucking airboot, again, did his own stunts, lands on a fucking airboot, fires off, and you get an iconic song, Hey, I'm alive, brilliant film, brilliant. Armour of God, 1986, if you like Jackie Chan in his heyday, check it out. It's a damn good film. But yeah, I like Armour of God. You know what I mean? It's got everything going for it. It's got humour. It's got a good, straightforward story. It's an adventure. It doesn't take itself too serious. Again, the dubbing's not the best, but was dubbing ever done in the mass days of martial art films. But I wouldn't like to say this was a martial art film. You know, it had action, it had adventure, it had it all. And I love Armour of God. I love it. It's one of my favourites of Jackie Chan's. You know, in his heyday. You know, at this point, he want to get more into just action and not just martial arts. Because it does have some action in it, it's not just martial arts. And I do like the fact that they're both fighting over a doe. There's a doe, right, who's Jackie Chan's mate. It's his doe friend, but the doe used to be Jackie Chan's doe friend. So they're both fighting over her. You know what I mean? I like that, it's very iconic. They try and kidnap the doe and they manage to get her back, you know, the typical story. And they're basically after this magical sword. They're after this magical fucking sword, which I love. I love that. It's, you know, it's unique. That's the word I'd say. It's unique. But yeah, it's unique. You know what I mean? I like the idea that both fighting over the doe, but you know, she's faithful to her mate, and it's good. I mean, I like the old mate in this, every card in this, they make 3 good teams. I do like the doe with a bow arrow. It kind of reminds me a bit of the doe. If you remember the Bond film For Your Eyes Owner, very attractive, nice hair, very long hair. And it kind of reminds me of her. There's a scene where she's trying to snipe these people out, who's trying to mug Jackie Chan, and she's using the sniper gun, and she almost hits fucking Chaka. Chaka's looking at her, saying, "You hitting the 1-1?" And again, I love it. I also love the ending, because the ending, you got like outtakes, and it just saw the scene, like I say, the Jackie Chan had that accident, and it weren't because of the surface, being there in the nick of time, stitching his head up. He wouldn't have been in a bad way. He would not have been in a bad fucking way. So it's thanks because of them, basically saved his life. It's Armour of God. If you like Jackie Chan in that era, check it out. 86. It's a dudding. Until then, have a dudding.